Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Banana Zone. It is freaking bonkers out there. I have no other words to describe it. We have MicroStrategy up $75 in a day. That's $750 before the 10-for-1 split. We have Bitcoin shooting up over $7,000 and it's up 20 grand since right before the election. Things are literally off the hook. We have officially entered the Banana Zone. I hope my audio is working. Yeah, let's pretend it is. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for having the faith and making it this far. David Webb and moderators, TND Tesla and Sean Dolly, thank you. We've got a big story to get into today. Lots of goodness, a little tiny bit of badness, but lots of goodness. And let's get into it. So it's been an overwhelming day, so bear with me here. And shout out as well to Raoul Powell, because he did say the Banana Zone was coming, and he was dead right. And of course, this is not financial advice. And of course, it's like, did I say it? And of course, twice, a shout out to our veterans all over the world. We honor all of those who served, and we have many veterans in the community too. And stay healthy, my friends. Let's get into it. Patreon, the one and only Patreon, has paid for itself for over 10 years. Thank you, Lawrence Narayan. Yes, we've had a special ride, and let's keep on going. I can't even give up. The chat's moving so fast, it's ridiculous. But guess what? Before we get into the OCTA news, we just hit $3 trillion market cap. It was only a few days ago I said, 5 to 10 trillion crypto market cap could easily happen. Bitcoin market cap now is above 1.7 trillion, a new all-time high. We keep on going up in $1,000 increments all the time, almost every 16 minutes, every hour. It is a rush like I have never seen before. This is bigger than anything I've ever seen before. So you are living in historic times. And again, thank you for being patient. We made it through the summer doldrums. Let's get into the ugly news first. We have some token unlocks. A couple of names here that are some of the usual names. Aptos, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Stark, ApeCoin, Sui, Cardano. Sui's only 13 million, Cardano's 11 million. ENA will reign forever. Meme, Jito, etc. The usual stuff. Not too much to be too concerned about. But again, good to know that could be a little bit of sell pressure. But this matters a lot in a bear market. When everything is going up, even absolute garbage coins are going up, dilution doesn't matter too much. The unlocks don't matter too much because everybody's just riding on, strapping in and just riding on into the glorious Banana Zone. Let's get into the bad news. I need a little bit of that. Sadly, U.S. real estate market is crushed. This is from Liz Ann Saunders. Shout out to Sanjay as well. The high interest rates continue to dampen home buying conditions for all buyers, new and old. The only people that can buy stuff are people with cash. But the people with cash have it in the markets. And the opportunity cost of pulling cash out now is too high. Unless, of course, you need a castle. And that's where we are. Now, lots of good news, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. And I see Preston out there. Hey, Preston, good to see you. Fear and greed, we've gone from neutral to greed to extreme greed and still an extreme greed. And that's what happens when the market kicks off. You like to buy when it's around 25, and now you just sit back and wait. Also, a week ago, this was one of my 2024 predictions. I said in this year, Bitcoin would eclipse Meta, and that just happened. So Meta is now number 10. Tesla's number 11. Tesla's coming up fast from behind. But guess what's really crazy is silver. So the crypto market cap, Bitcoin market cap is $1.722 trillion. Silver is 1.733. So it looks like Saudi Aramco and silver will be smoked this year. Another forecast. And then after that, Amazon. This is a fast rocket, ladies and gentlemen. And a week ago at OCTA, I said this. This is before the election. My OCTA was right before the election actually happened. And that was my Bitcoin trajectory 6 days ago in that whole zone we've been in since the halving. And I was completely wrong. It didn't go up at 45 degrees. It went up vertical. This is exactly what happened. And this isn't even up to date. This Bitcoin chart here is only to $86,000, ladies and gentlemen. We are now at $87,820. So basically, if you imagine this particular chart here, we are off the roof. It's gone through the top of the screen. So it's like, what was that thing? I lost my train of thought. I'm in the wrong screen here. There I am. It's like the meme with the big green candles punching through the roof of the house. And that's where we are. Let's get into a whole bunch of on-chain stuff. First of all, Bitcoin season is still on versus the alts. We are at 37. But remember, the time will come when Bitcoin runs out of gas. And then people will take their Bitcoin profits. And guess where they're going to stick it? In the altcoins. That's where we get Banana Zone Part 2. But we have to wait a bit for that. The narratives that are still hot right now, we have memes still winning the month, up 90%. And Ethereum made a very good recovery, up 36.3%, and Bitcoin 37.8% over last month. For an asset that size, to go up 40% in a month is crazy. But we have so much stuff that's gone up 40%, 50%, 80%. It is absolutely crazy. It's a November like I've never seen before, at least for all the things that I tend to be in. And you know all those names as well. That's why I talk about them all the time as well. So let's talk about this. Last week, again, I had to share it again because one of the weird things about this season is everything is almost too predictable by analyzing history and predicting what happens after certain things happen. And I said last week as well, Bitcoin performance following presidential elections will go up. Fred Krueger said that as well. And it did. Except it went up a lot more because now the US government has something like 250, 270 individuals that are pro-crypto. They have flicked the anti-crypto army, with the exception of one person, of course, who will remain nameless. And it's good. That means there are higher odds of a much more crypto-friendly, much more pro-innovation environment. And that means potentially treasuries down the line too. Shout out to everybody here, Rusty Woods and Alex Rogan. Alex Rogan, I remember you from this morning. We were chatting. Now, digital asset fund flows, again, another bonkers week behind us. The total flows post-election are over $2 billion right now. And the price action is pushing global assets under management to a new high of over $116 billion. Everybody wants a piece of this digital stuff, whatever the heck it is. People are getting out of traditional assets fast, including rolling out of gold. And money flows by asset. You can see here, big week for Bitcoin, 1.8 billion, 157 into Ethereum. That was, at least as far as I can recall, which Ethereum has been floundering all year. They had the biggest flow, I think, all year, definitely since the ETF launched in July. And altcoins, you can see Solana up 4 million. And the rest kind of crumbs. Short Bitcoin down, which is always a bullish sign as well. So again, craziness happening. Now, zooming into where we are, because I know it's kind of unbelievable. In the space of like a week, we go from 67. We're at $88,000 now, ladies and gentlemen. This thing just has, it has no quit in it. It's insane. Absolutely freaking nuts. $88,000. We have made, I don't know, 6 new all-time highs today. It's just insane. Absolutely insane. Anyway, back to business. We are still below historic levels for post-halving returns. And this from Econometrics. And you can see here, yes, Bitcoin keeps smashing new all-time highs, but still remains below its historical post-halving trajectory growth. So if you look down the bottom little orange line, and then the range, consider it a cloud between the blue thing is the cloud. You got the green at the top. That's the first halving. You have the third halving, the yellow at the bottom. That's the most recent cycle from 2020. And then the second halving is in red. We are way below all of those. So the question is, could we still go up from here? And the answer is, as I've been saying for weeks, hell yes. We had so much chatter the last couple of months that, Bitcoin's topped out. It's never going to hit 70K again. And I said, well, we never revisit 70K again because that's the price at the election. If history repeats, of course. So bye-bye 70K. All those people waiting for 50K. 40K, 30K to enter. Now they're getting hardcore FOMO, and that's just how it works. And you would swear as well, over the last couple of months, all the gold bugs were rejoicing, cracking their champagne, mocking Bitcoin almost 24/7. You may notice Peter Schiff has been pretty quiet right now. This is Bitcoin versus gold ETFs. Bitcoin, and this is old, by the way, this is from yesterday. Bitcoin up, IBIT up 76%, and the iShares Gold Trust is up 29%. So when you hear them say, oh, gold is beating Bitcoin, no, not even close. And yes, in fairness though, gold did have its best run in the last 12 years or more, from what I can recall. Don't look at the chart that much, but I know it's had the best run over the last 12 years. For all the languishing it's done, so when you rip out and you create the real value of gold after debasement, it still is deep underwater. Anywho, back to other... I mean, there's so much news today. It's sick. Absolutely ill, as the kids say. Michael Saylor Snacks, and he kind of telegraphed this last week too, because he said, is it time to buy more Bitcoin? Well, he was buying a lot. He bought another 27,200 Bitcoin for $2 billion. One of the biggest buys yet. They now hold, call it 280,000 Bitcoin. Acquired it on average 42,692 per Bitcoin. Now, if I recall correctly, the price that they paid for the Bitcoin that they just bought was about 76,000 on average. So for all of those 27,200 Bitcoin, they've already made 27,200 times 12,000 in profit since the news release, which is like minutes ago. It is crazy. And that's why MicroStrategy is up a monstrous $75. Let's check the after hours MicroStrategy price right now. Live. Oh my goodness. This is insane. MicroStrategy went up $70 during the market open, and now it's up another $14. $84 in a day. $84. Much of my MicroStrategy at a cost basis of 90 cents. It goes up $84. It's like, pinch me, I'm dreaming. Maybe this is all unreal. Let me know if anybody's actually here, or tell me I'm in a dream, because this is absolutely insane. But one important thing that I do want to share from Michael Saylor, and this is quite profound, and it's worth reading out if I can read it. He says here, Bitcoin is the most valuable asset in the world. The end game is to be the leading Bitcoin bank or merchant bank, or you could call it a Bitcoin finance company. If we end up with 20 billion of converts, 20 billion of preferred stock, 10 billion of debt, and say 50 billion in some kind of debt instrument and structures instrument, we'll have 100 to 150 billion dollars worth of Bitcoin. Okay? Bitcoin is going to millions of dollars a coin, and then we create a $1 trillion company. And the most important thing he said here, somewhere, at least I remember, it's not written here, but he said he believes his solution is infinitely scalable. And he has no problem now seeing how he could raise the next $100 billion tranche, and after that, another $200 billion tranche. Remember, when he said he was going to do the $42 billion ATM, Wall Street was like, this guy's insane. And now he's quadrupled, octupled the ante just in a couple of weeks. It's crazy. This thing is scarce. All you have to do is buy it and wait. If you can buy it at interest-free fiat, which is going to zero, same thing. Putin was making fun of the US. Oh, you guys just printed $12 trillion out of thin air for nothing. And that's the global reserve currency of the planet. Yeah. Anyway, fiat's going to zero. I hope people aren't upset if I mentioned that name, but that was big news today. That Marty mentioned earlier too. Now, MicroStrategy is on fire, and this is now completely out of date, even though it's from hours ago. They bought, again, I think $2.03 billion for 27,200 Bitcoin. The average price, is it here? 74,400. Yes, it's even lower than I thought. Okay, let me try that again. Bitcoin is at 88,100. and they bought it at 74.4. They are now, call it $14,000 per Bitcoin in profit in just a week or less. This thing is moving fast. Risk happens fast. I'm glad to see my term risk happens fast now popping up all over the place. Woohoo, people are listening. And urgent warning sign, ladies and gentlemen. And this is when your distant cousin you haven't heard from in 10 years calls you up and says, is it too late to buy Bitcoin now? Trust me, those phone calls are coming if they haven't already arrived. But Bernstein say, my interpretation is urgent, get in now. But they said investors need to urgently add exposure to Bitcoin. Okay, as soon as possible. We will keep it simple. Don't fight this. I mean, they are financial advisors, and that is the most brutally, violently, physically punch in the face of financial advice I've ever heard in my life. Do not waste time. Get in urgently. Don't fight us. Just do it. And they know what's happening. They know what the OTC desks look like. They are on the phone with big money runners every single day, and they know what's coming. And so does Larry Fink, too. And he was also telegraphing everything that's going on, too. But checking in on everybody here. Hope everybody's doing okay. Sorry if I sound a bit exhausted and excited at the same time. But this is historic. And I'm so blessed to be able to make a video at the same time as well, with nearly 9,000 people watching live. So thank you all for coming. And by the way, I never ask for likes or anything like that or subscribes. I think you're clever enough to know what to do yourself. But do it for this one, because those that aren't on the train, according to Bernstein, need to be on the train. All right? It's urgent. Something big is coming, and we haven't seen it yet. Now, this also came out from Bob Lucas. Yes, he said after the fact that maybe it was a mistake post, but I've read it in a few different places that OTC desks are running low, and Bob is typically a reliable source. We don't know where this goes, but the point I want to make here, and I've been talking about supply crunch for quite a while, if you look at how much the ETFs bought up over the last 5 weeks, less, 4 weeks, they bought up 100,000 Bitcoin. Saylor just bought up 27,200 Bitcoin. That's 130,000. I reckon, best case, there was 200,000 Bitcoin on the OTC desk as of the 1st of October, maybe less. 130,000 of that is now gone. And that doesn't include all the other buyers that are buying OTC. I know people are buying 100 at a time OTC, putting in their own personal little bags. A little late to the party, but that's what they're doing. They're not buying it on Binance. They're not buying it on Coinbase. They're buying it OTC because they have the connections and they have the wherewithal to drop that type of money. If that's the case, best case scenario, my estimate is there's 70,000 Bitcoin left on the OTC desks. Or Bob Lucas says 20, or some people say 40. I do know as well the OTC desks are calling up all the miners looking for their coinage ASAP. If this is true, even if it's 70,000 left, they'll all be gone real soon at this rate. We're talking a couple of weeks. And if this is true, the players like BlackRock and MicroStrategy and Bernstein and all these guys and gals, they have to turn to the open market to get your coins. Okay? They're going to be knocking on your door saying, hey, you want to sell your Bitcoin for 100 grand? I'll buy it. 120? I'll buy it. 150? I'll buy it. Okay? That's just the reality of the situation. We could be going into the craziest price discovery we've ever seen. So buckle in, ladies and gentlemen. Now, some more on-chain stuff. So this is from Axel. This is the average number of active addresses is at the median. And once this metric rises above one standard deviation, we might get a little selling pressure. But we're not there at all. There is no selling pressure. People said, oh, if we hit an all-time high, everybody will dump their coin and buy lifestyle chips. This time is a little bit different. People are not selling. So, the old thing of pry the gun from somebody's dead cold hands or whatever. It'll be like pry the Bitcoin from my dead cold hands. Somebody should create a meme about that and tag me on Twitter. I'll reshare it. You know the one I'm talking about, Charleston Heston or some guy. Anywho, Perp funding rates is from Dylan Leclerc, Dancing Shoes and INF Jeff. I love that. We got Myers-Briggs in the house. Dylan says Bitcoin funding rates are the lowest we've seen. during a break of the previous all-time high. This is going to be insane, which means the big players, the big money, haven't even gotten in yet. Another view of perp rates and how they're still low and how things could go bonkers is typically the number of bulls in the market is increasing, it appears from these charts. There is a substantial advantage already, although it doesn't compare to the rally in March 2024. If you look at cluster 2 and cluster 1, look at those funding rates and look at them now, they're non-existent. Which basically means, in simple terms, this thing has not even kicked off yet. Hope people got that. And Fred, Uncle Fred as I call him, Fred Krueger, he said Bitcoin is the fastest horse to $1 trillion. And it's funny because I thought it was quite profound. We just eclipsed Meta platforms. It took Meta 17 years to get to 1 trillion. It took Bitcoin 12. And here we are. So again, just a little bit of history, completely out of date. Next up in the box, as I mentioned before, is Saudi Aramco and silver, the two S's. SS, and then it'll be Amazon after that. Also from the Kobasi letter, the Kobasi letter, sorry. This is from, it's not from Polymarkets, I think it's from Kalshi, I'm not sure. But they had a poll on the betting markets, and by the way, guess what? Betting markets are pretty spot on many things. You know what I'm talking about. For the others, I won't mention. Anyway, but here you can see portfolio prediction markets are now pricing in a 38% chance that we will see Bitcoin at $100,000 this year. This was done, by the way, before we hit Bitcoin of 88,200. Also, to show you how out of date this is and how solid our chances for $100,000 Bitcoin, they also had a 49% chance of Bitcoin hitting 90,000 at the end of this year. We're $1,800 away from 90,000 right now, which is crazy. Bitcoin has never been stronger. This is a special time. And everything is happening as we expected, which is wonderful. I'd be quite embarrassed if it didn't. Anyhow, here we are. Let's look at some other crypto names too, because everything is pumping. This is Bitcoin from Crypto Companion, which is out of date, by the way, because it's up a lot higher. It's up about $4,000 higher since this dashboard was taken and put in this presentation, but still up a whopping nearly 35% over the last 30 days. Most of that action happened in the last 7 days. And Doge is still winning, CRO number 2, and Cardano number 3, Sui number 4, Solana number 5 for the top 50. And then we have Optimism, Tau, and Immutable X negative. During the craziest banana zone, we still have things that are going down. Not a good sign, ladies and gentlemen. Anyhow, that's where we are. Also, Solana breaks $100 billion in market cap, and it's outpacing Bitcoin and Ethereum. Yeah, people think there's big dogs in town, but smaller dogs run faster. That's just the nature of the beast. So we've seen Solana go from 160 to, I don't even know where it is now, 220-ish. Yeah, 220. And that's a big move. So everything's moving. Everything's moving really well. In terms of black hole, a quick on-chain update. Over the last 30 days, $160 million was drained from Ethereum to Sol, and 84 million went back. It's nearly a 2-to-1. Normally it's at kind of a little higher than that. But anyway, that's pretty good. Also, one other thing that's important, we're going to talk about Bitcoin miners, because those puppies have come back with a vengeance. People are writing them off for dead, but this is an important metric here for Macro Micro. And this is the actual cost to mine Bitcoin today is 80,000. And again, this was put together an hour ago when Bitcoin was 85,000. Now it's 88,000. So that basically means on average, all the Bitcoin miners, for every Bitcoin they mine, they're making 8,000 in profit on average. Some are making a lot more. And I have the data for that. I just, in my spare time, which I have none, therefore I will never DM you directly because I work all the time. So anybody that reaches out to you and talks to you and pretends they're me, they're a scammer. So do you know how it's the easiest thing in the world. How do you not get scammed? Don't give anything to anybody. That's it. It's not hard, everybody. Don't give anything to anybody. Sorry for that little advertisement interjection there. Let's look at the new miner model. This was posted on Patreon early today. CleanSpark, now has the highest dollar production per rig. This is one of the top metrics I look at. I look at about 60 key ratios and ratios and ratios. Number 2 in the box is Hive. And what's interesting as well is my miner model has completely tipped upside down. So last time I did it a few weeks ago, Hive won, but CleanSpark's back on top again, which is good to see despite a rampage in price of CleanSpark going from $9 to like $17 now. It's just insane. Actually, let's check on Actually, I got the miner sheet next. But the cool thing about this ratio that I calculated, it adds up the total number of rigs per miner and how much they, on average, the Bitcoin price is for the month, how many Bitcoin they mine, and then I can calculate how much they make per rig per month, per miner. And that's $207 for CleanSpark, $187 for Hive. Marathon got a lot better, $167. Iris, $165. Riot, $159. Cola, $160. And then you can go down the list. And Hut, the worst of all, $100. Wolf has gone down too a lot. And this is the production on the right, production for the month. The winner is Marathon at 717, and number 2 is CleanSpark at 655. Remember, you have to look at these production numbers relative to market cap, and that's where you get the real efficiency. And the miners today are completely on fire. This is kind of impressive. You got BTBT up 27.39, and this is again, this is probably out of date right now. Marathon up 25%, 26%. Hut 25%. They're obviously not looking at my ratios. BitDeer 23.55%. CleanSpark, it's at 17 last time I checked, 16.71 here, etc. They have come back fast because now they are able to make a profit on mining Bitcoin, which is awesome. Let's switch gears and talk about some more stocks. This is the stock market just over the last week since last OCTA on the 5th of November. Bonkers. Check this out. Microsoft up 2.67%. Apple 0.44%. By the way, the only reason Apple going up is they spend hundreds of billions buying their stock back. Nvidia up 6.34%. Amazon 5.3%. Google 6.6%. Meta 4%. And Tesla up 43% in a week. Again, at the risk of sounding boring, risk happens fast. But there's a bit of other interesting news regarding stocks. And shout out to Mohammed Al Arian. Given where futures are trading, U.S. stocks are on course to set their 50th record high for this year alone. But a lot of hedge funds and everybody else is short. We'll get into that in a second too. Tesla is up a whopping, not just over the last week, 44%, but up 143% since May. So everybody who was able to stack it on the cheap prices, that's a pretty good return. But unfortunately, there is a casualty. Tesla shorts lost $5.2 billion in a few days, according to Teslarati. That is wicked. Wicked. Tesla is the widowmaker, has been for a long time. Shout out to Sawyer Merritt. The Tesla shorts have lost $75 billion since inception. This is like a drug they can't stop taking. They just want to shame themselves in public. Tesla short sellers lost $75 billion since the company went public in 2010. And the majority in the last 5 years. Super Soul Man, thank you for coming. In the last 3 weeks, $10 billion. The last 1 week, $5 billion. And they keep on doing it. And by the way, shorts are also getting smashed on Bitcoin in a big way too. Like, can somebody answer me? Who shorts Bitcoin in Moonvember? I don't have any answers. Anyway, back to the experts, so-called experts. Hedge funds. They got it so wrong in 2024, 2023. They got it right the early part of 2022 by shorting the S&P 500. But now, the interesting thing about this is they have all just become bulls. After getting it wrong so much for the last couple of years, they just became bullish, which makes me a little nervous. Because they're so wrong all the time. If they go bullish, it means we should turn bearish. And this is the S&P 500 chart over those last 2 years, while the hedge funds were short. It went from 4,200 up to over 6,000 today. Wicked. So something is like a glitch in money runners, money managers, hedge funds, so-called experts to be bearish at the wrong times. Anyway, we don't do that here, of course. And that's the story for today. All these videos are turned into a Substack and a podcast and all that. If you care, and thank you to the team behind me that puts them all together. We have 10,500 people watching live. I think that's a new record for an OCTA, or at least a joint second. Again, hit the like just to get the message out to your friends and family. There are people that are still not on the train, and this is a place where I won't waste your time. We go through 50 or 60 nuggets in 30 minutes. It's a lot, but you need to be aware of all this stuff if you're in the markets. If you're not in the markets and you're in mutual funds, you're fine. But don't be doing that either, okay? Thank you all. Thank you, Liz C., Super Soul Man, Sean Donnelly, TND Tesla, American Beijing, K8, everybody for being here. See you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, by the way, is DCA. Forgot to add the slide. First thing in the morning, 7:30, with Mando and Marty and CTO. It's going to be a banger of a show. Lots of good stuff. Bye-bye.